guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today I wanted to do a little quick Q&A, and so I have a few questions from you guys, either sending them to me on email or Facebook or Instagram, or I don't know, you guys are just asking me questions, so I wanted to hop on here and answer a few. And if you have any other questions, just send them over to support@sashadavis.com or hit me up on one of the social media outlets. So let's dive right in. The first one that I was asked, let's see here. How do you stay on track and not let life sidetrack you? So I have become fairly organized over the last few years, and I have created habits, and I stack habits on top of habits, and I literally have like things all over my house, my phone, my planner. I have to like trick myself into staying on track, and I think this is just because I know how my brain works. I really like diving into psychology and things like that, so I already know what my go-to avoidance things are, or things that like make me fall off track. So one of the things that I do, or that I say all the time, is like, oh, I'm too busy, or this happens or that happens, and I can't. So instead of allowing myself to be too busy or not create the time and space for me to stay on track, I set reminders everywhere. So in the morning, I have like a million alarms on my phone, you guys, and I'm not even kidding. If you were to look at my phone, you would probably make fun of me. And it's not just like get out of bed alarms. Like, I'm not that person that has like 12 alarms to get out of bed. I usually only have like one or two to get out of bed. I have like the first one where I'm like, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up. And then I have like a 5-minute one after that, so that if I'm not out of bed 5 minutes after my original alarm, I have another alarm that goes off. And then I have an alarm that tells me to drink water right when I get up. And then I have an alarm that tells me I need to work out. And then I have an alarm that tells me I need to start my morning routine. And then I have an alarm that tells me when I have to wake the kids up. And then I have another alarm that tells me when we need to pack up and get out the door. And then I have alarms set 10 to 15 minutes before every appointment. So like if you're working with me and say we have a 1 o'clock appointment, I would have an alarm go off in my phone at 12:45 telling me to prep for my call, because if I didn't do that, I would show up late to the call. And it's happened, you guys. This is why I do these things, because otherwise I'm showing up late to the call, or I'm showing up late to an actual appointment, and I'm like scrambling, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't know where I'm at or what I need to do. And I'm really good at winging it. I am really good at winging it. But I am a million times better if I can prepare. I usually nail it winging it, but it's just, I don't know, I feel extra successful when I can actually prep and prepare for a call and not feel rushed or like I'm like winging it. I don't know, like that's my go-to. It's just like, man, I'll just wing it. So one of my things is I'm trying to plan more. So how do I stay on track? I set timers and reminders for everything. I have reminders in my calendar on when bills are due. I have reminders in my phone on the times that the kids are going to daycare. I have times in my phone for waking up or for evening routines or for food. I have reminders on like what day I need to get groceries and how many groceries I need to get. I have systems and strategies in place for literally everything in my life. And I've even like written things on my hand before that are like, you're a badass, like, or abundance or prosperity or gratitude. Like I'll write things on my wrist or on my hand so that I remember them throughout the day. You know, I've even put like Post-its on my mirror or like inside certain drawers or closet doors. I make sure that my vision board is somewhere where I can see it every day. I'm trying to think what else I do to stay on track. Oh, accountability partners are freaking huge. So, and I've always had a coach. I shouldn't say always had a coach. That's bullshit. I've had a coach for, the last 5 years or so, I've had a coach my whole life, I guess, if you want to like include sports and things like that. But I've always had some type of mentor in my life that I have to check in with. So that really helps me stay on track. And then investing something in myself, in my future, helps me stay on track too. So this is kind of weird, but it works. So when I actually spend a significant amount of money on something, I force myself to show up for it because I'm like, well, I am not going to waste this money. Like, I'm going to do the damn thing. Versus if it was a freebie, or if I spent, only like $5 or $10, I'm like, meh, it's only $5 or $10. And to some people that may be a lot of money. I used to be like a super big penny pincher, and sometimes I still can be. Like, I am really big on saving money. Like, I really am. Like, that's one of the things I'm like, I want to save you time and money and energy. I want to save myself time, money, and energy. So if I spend a significant amount of money in like a course or a product or a membership or something, you bet your sweet ass I'm going to show up and do it. Because if I don't, I'm wasting that hard-earned money, and that does not sit okay with me. So those are just a few tips and tricks on how I stay on track and not let life sidetrack me. Couple more things is having people where you can vent to, or people who can call you out on your bullshit. And this is kind of where the accountability comes in too. And even like the post-it reminders everywhere. Because sometimes you can fall into like that negative spiral where you're like, man, why do I even try? But you have to have somebody be like, knock it off. This isn't how you want to feel, and get you back on track. Not that they need to like drag you along, because you can't force anybody to do anything. Like, I am not going to force you to do anything. Like, it's all on you, but I will definitely call you out and tell you, hey, you're not doing the things that you need to be doing. What the fuck's happening? So anyways, those are some tips and tricks on how to stay on track. Next question. How do you stop feeling guilty for saying no to people or events? I'll be honest, there's usually still a tinge of guilt. I don't ever say no guilt-free. Sometimes I do, but more often than not, I still feel a little guilty. I'm like, oh man, should I go to that? Because honestly, guys, I'm a people pleaser. I may be kind of a dickhead at times, but like, I'm a people pleaser deep down, and I just want to make everybody happy. And so I want to say yes to all the things. And oftentimes I do still say yes to quite a bit of things, but I say no a lot more often than I used to. So before, I would never say no. Like, the thought of even saying no, like, gave me anxiety, made me want to throw up, and just made me feel like a terrible, terrible human being. But now I'm like, nope, I can't do it, because if I can't show up 100% or even close to 100%, then I don't want to do it. And I don't want to say yes to things where I'm just going to be a negative Nancy or a Krabby Patty if I'm going and people know that I don't truly want to be there. Or if I truly don't want to be involved. Like, people can read that energy, and it's not helping anybody. It's not helping anybody. So if you show up to a party that you didn't really want to go to, people are going to know it. Whether you put on a fake ass smile or not, people are going to know it. They're going to be like, ugh, something wasn't right with so-and-so tonight. It just didn't seem like she really wanted to be here. And that's probably because you didn't really want to be there. So what I do is I say yes to the things that really light me up and really fill my cup. And then if there is time and space if there's time and space available on my calendar to say yes to other things, then typically I'll say yes to a few things. But I kind of do like the hot, warm, cold, or like the yes, no, maybe. So like, if something I want to go to is like, yep, if it's a hell yes, then hell yes, I'm going. If it's a maybe, I'll put it on a maybe bucket, and, maybe I'll go, maybe I won't. And then there's those no's, like those hard no's, like, hey, do you want to go? I don't even know what I've said no to recently. There was a concert that somebody invited me to a couple weeks ago, and I had already seen the artist, and as much as it would have been fun to go, I had been running pretty hard the few days before, and I just really was like craving that quiet time, that family time. And honestly, I just wanted to sit my ass on the couch and catch up on some of my shows and just not do anything. And so I said no. And it was really hard because I was like, well, what if it was an amazing concert? And I'm like, well, do I spend enough time with my friends? And so like my brain goes through these, series of questions and feeling guilty. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? Nope. I'm listening to what my body is telling me right now. And that's telling me that I need rest. Like, you can go hard and go to that concert, but then you're going to bring that tired, exhausted energy into the week. And that's not helping anybody. So I ended up saying no, and I did feel pretty bad about it, but I feel really good saying no because now I was able to go to bed early that night instead of getting home, at midnight or later. And my kids haven't been sleeping good lately, and so it would have just been less sleep. And while I can operate on very minimal amount of sleep, I'm typically not that pleasant the next day unless I have like ridiculously large amounts of caffeine. So anyways, back to the how do you stop feeling guilty? I don't think you ever really stop feeling guilty, but you start to create the time and space for the things that really light you up instead of overcommitting, and not being able to make any time and space for those things that light you up. Because I was to the point where I said yes to so many things that I couldn't say yes to the things that I really wanted to do for myself because I had absolutely no more time to do anything. So while you may feel guilty saying no to other people, it does allow you to do more of the things that bring you joy, which in turn makes you happy, which in turn makes your family happy and everybody else around you happier. So that's my justification on it. Next question. How do you stop negative thoughts from taking over? Ooh, this one is another hard one. And depending on what type of negative thoughts, like I'm just going to be real with you. Like if you're having like suicidal thoughts or things like that, I highly, highly suggest seeking out therapy, talking to a doctor, maybe getting on some medication temporarily until you start to, not have that terrible of thoughts and feelings. Like if you feel like no hope or severe depression, things like that, you really need to seek out help. Like it is so, so hard to do that stuff on your own. And I don't want anybody making a choice that they could potentially regret. So if you're having severe negative thoughts, definitely seek help. But if you're just having like and not to like minimize this because this can be pretty severe too, but if you're just having like the I'm stupid, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm this, nobody wants to hear what I have to say, those types of thoughts, you need to have a support system. So whether that is seeking therapy or a doctor, or maybe it's your spouse, or maybe it's a group of gals, maybe you have an online community, but you really need a support system that is going to be able to really help you from turning those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. And so the other thing is if I catch myself in a negative spiral, usually some type of movement, like physically moving my body, moving my energy will help me shift my mindset. So like if I'm feeling like a real pile, I'll get up and I'll move around the house and I'll do like jumping jacks, or I'll go for a walk, or like I'll jam out, or I'll listen to a meditation. Like those typically help get me out of that negative spiral. And again, going back to the staying on track, I will put Post-its all over the place that tells me I'm being a badass, or I'm awesome, or I'm gorgeous, or I'll like write down compliments that people have given to me, and then I'll put those on Post-it notes. Other things that I'll do is I'll just go right to gratitude journaling, and I'll like force myself to find the good in the day. Like, even if your dog dies today, which can be a really terrible thing, like you can still find the beauty in it by celebrating the life, right? So to every light, there is a dark. To every bad, there is a good. And so anytime you have a negative thought, stop yourself, pinch yourself, write on your hand, put like a circle with a X through it and put negativity or something, so that anytime you have a negative thought, you look down, you're like, oh, that's right, I'm not being negative. And think the exact opposite. So say you're having this like I'm fat, I'm ugly day. I want you to literally force yourself to say, I'm fit and I'm pretty, or I'm healthy and I'm beautiful. And just make yourself say it until you start to feel it. And the other thing that you can do, and this sounds really silly, but I feel like it works, is when you're feeling really down in the dumps, Like, go watch some funny movies, like funny clips on YouTube. Like, when I feel really sad or silly, sometimes I'll just go watch like funny cat videos or videos of babies laughing or things like that. And seriously, it brightens my day, and I'm like, oh my God, first world problems, and I start to big picture it, and things really aren't that bad. Things could always be a lot worse, and I'm blessed to be where I'm at and have the opportunities that are continuously presented to me. So, it doesn't happen overnight. You can't just like snap your fingers and be like, voila, I'm a super happy, positive Patty, and everything's great. It takes practice just like anything else. Think of it as mental push-ups. The more you do, the better you get. So, being aware of your negative thoughts, I would say, is the number one thing. So maybe just like track all your negative thoughts throughout the day and be like, holy shit, I have a lot of negative thoughts. Tomorrow I'm going to turn half of those into positive thoughts, and just start to take, incremental steps, baby steps towards a more positive outlook on life. And you can do this simply by doing gratitude journal in the morning or gratitude journal at night. Like, at dinner time, sometimes what we'll do is, what was the best part of your day? And so you really have to force yourself to be like, what was the best part of my day? And you start to look for the good that happened throughout the day instead of the bad that happened. So hopefully that helps you. Last question before we wrap this up, and that is, what is your idea of perfect happiness? And so what I'm going to tell you is just my idea of perfect happiness. Your idea of perfect happiness may be entirely different than mine. And God, I don't even know really what perfect happiness would be. I don't really believe in perfection, because I'm a pretty happy person every freaking day. Like, I feel very blessed. And I used to really like that word, even used to trigger me, blessed. And I wonder if it was because like it used to be really popular for people to be like, oh, I'm blessed this, blessed that. And I don't know, popular things trigger me. It's weird. Maybe because I like to be like unique and different and bold and blah, blah, blah. And well, if everybody's bold, then maybe I'll be quiet and shy just to be opposite, just to be a rebel. Perfect happiness. I would say that I'm well on my way to, quote, perfect happiness, but what would be really cool is like I have this vision of just like being on an old farm home, an old renovated farm home, a 5-bedroom, 3-bath farm home with like a big front porch and a big back deck area, kind of up on a hill on like 20, 30, 40 plus acres. I have like, now my dog's beating her tail against the wall. Go lay down, honey. No, go lay down. Go lay down. You wanna go outside? Okay. But living, on like a huge plot of land, and I just want like all the horses. I want like a dozen freaking horses. Oh, now my cat's meowing. I basically have a farmhouse now. I just don't have a ton of land. Anyway, so I would, hang on, I'm going back upstairs, breathing heavy. Okay. I hope I just didn't let both dogs out at the same time. Now I'm just going to wander around my house, and you guys are just going to have to deal with me. Shoot, 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to swap the dogs out. Anyways, basically what I want is perfect happiness. To me, would be a similar setup to what I already have, but like 10x'd. So I'm very grateful for where I'm at. And I don't know, you always have that like longing for more. Like you get one thing and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, what's next? So I'd love to have like a 5-bedroom, 3-bath on like a ton of land, just like a ton of land where I have like a bajillion horses. I have donkeys, goats, llamas, I have a whole bunch of kids, and which is crazy for me to even say that because I was like, do I even want one kid? I don't know. And now I'm like, let's have all the babies. I have no idea if I'll have more kids or not. This is just my vision of perfect happiness. And being able to, wake up and have like a solid morning routine and like drink my coffee on my porch, watch the sunrise. I love watching the sunrise. And then I would want to wake my babies up and have like some cuddle time and have breakfast and just really enjoy each other's company in the morning, which we basically do already. And then I'd love to, ride horses more. I'd love to just have more family time, more community, more connection. and live in the middle of freaking nowhere with my little plot of land and live off the land and have just like a huge garden and tons of apple trees and pear trees and just really live a low impact sustainable life where our goal is to be happy, and that would be perfect happiness to me. I want to live a very simple life, and to some that may be like crazy. Like I don't want fancy cars or fancy clothing or anything like that. Like I just want all of the kids and all of the animals and a good cup of coffee in the morning and a good glass of wine at night, watch the sunrise, watch the sunset, and really just enjoy each other's company. And I would love to travel more. Like that's another idea of perfect happiness, being able to spend more time with my family and really enjoy those experiences with one another. I could really go without all of the other stuff. Like I just really, really value quality time and nature, like more than anything. And that to me is my idea of perfect happiness. So if you have any other questions for me, shoot them over. I have probably another 20 or 30 questions to go through, but that's all we have time for today. I love seeing these questions. So if you have anything that you want to specifically ask me, whether it's about life, business, or my personal life or family or anything, just shoot it over to support@sashadavis.com or hit me up on one of the social media outlets. All right, guys, have a kick-ass day. We'll catch you next time. Thank you for listening to the Confidence Coach podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I want to invite you to leave a 5-star review and share what you loved most about this episode. You can also screenshot and share it on social media. Tag me at sasha.davis. And if you're looking for additional resources, head on over to sashadavis.com. Check out ways that you can work with me and all the free resources that are available to you. Have a kick-ass day.